let's get cooking. Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with Mama Rossi. I am making my version of homemade mac and cheese. Everybody has their version that they make, or a family recipe that you pass down. This is just the way I do it. If you have a better way of doing it, by all means, you have at it. But for me, I'm going to boil up these elbow pastas according to the directions on the box. I have my water is already heating up. I have 2 cans of this double cheddar ragu. I have 1 can of this Alfredo, classic Alfredo ragu. I have 1 can of this Juanita's nacho cheese and an 8-ounce bag of cheddar. And I'm sure I have other opened bags that are just a little bit in them in the refrigerator of cheese that I'll probably throw in. You can never overdo the cheese in a macaroni and cheese. Please remember that. Please. So right now, we're going to get started on boiling our pasta, and then I'll show you how to heat up and put together the cheeses the way I do it. Now, here we go. All right. So we have a pot here that we're going to use. It's a medium-sized saucepan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little handy-dandy scraper. I'm going to dump this cheese into the pot. And then I am going to empty these jars into the pot. So each of these jars, I'm going to empty into the pot. But I'll show you a little secret that I have about these jars. Okay? Now this is going to make a lot of cheese sauce because I'm of the persuasion that if you're making mac and cheese, it definitely should be cheesy. Now, I've emptied all the jars. They're all emptied. They're emptied into the pot. Now I'm going to put a little bit of water. I put about this much water into the jar. So it's like right here. And I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to shake it around. Okay. I'm going to take this jar. I'm going to dump it into the next jar. Lid on in the sink. See how I cleaned it out? Here's the jar before. And after. And then this is the last jar. Then I'm going to pour this into this pot. Now, once you have these 3 put together, we're going to stir this up, and I'll show it to you in a minute. Well, I'll show it to you now. Okay, so this is what it looks like, not mixed. And then I'm just going to stir this together. Try to get it stirred through. Alright, so I'm going to try to get this stirred through. And then I'm going to put this on the stove. Now, once I get this on the stove and get it heated up, when my pasta is done cooking through, I'm going to cook it for 11 minutes. When it's done cooking through, I'm going to strain it off, put it back in the pot. And this cheese sauce is going to be nice and warmed up. It's going to be heated through, bubbly and everything. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to pour it over my pasta right after this. Hi everybody. While we're waiting on the food to cook, I want to tell you a little story. A lady went to the doctor and she was diagnosed with cancer, but she was in the latter stage of cancer, and the doctor only gave her just a few weeks left to live. So she goes home and she calls her pastor. She tells her pastor, come over, I want to finalize everything for when I pass away. So he comes over and she says, okay, I want this song sung at my funeral, and I would like these passages read, and I want you to make sure that this is the outfit that I want you to make sure they have on me. And the pastor, you know, they were talking for a while, and the pastor's getting ready to leave. And she said, oh, by the way, pastor, hold on. He said, so he turns around, he said, yeah, sister, what is it? She says, just make sure that there's a fork in my right hand. And he just looks at her like real baffled. And she said, are you confused? He said, well, yeah, a little. And so she told him the story. When she was a little girl, her grandmother would take her to fine restaurants to eat. And when the maitre d' would come and take away their plates, Grandma would lean over and whisper in her ear, keep your fork. And through the years, she learned to know that keep your fork meant something better is coming. There's a decadent chocolate cake or big old stuffed apple pie with a la mode, or, you know, there's a goodie on its way. So she told the pastor, I've already had my dinner here. I've lived my life here. But with this fork in my hand, I got something better coming. So a couple of weeks later, the lady passes away. And at the viewing of her body, her family and friends are coming by, and she's there. She's got her fork in her hand. And everybody's like, what's with the fork? Why she got a fork in her hand? That's weird. She got a fork in her hand. And the pastor's standing nearby, and he's got just a little grin on his face. And when the service opened, the song was sung, the passages were read, the eulogy was read. But then, as it was closing, he said, a lot of you recognize the fork in her hand. He said she had a better grasp of what heaven is than people 3 times her age. Yes, she was young. Yes, she was dying. But she's already lived her life. And in death, with that fork, there's something better to come. And you keep that in your mind as you go out and you make you something good to eat. But just remember this. Here, you only have the shadow of the taste of that food. But there, you'll have the full essence of it. Okay, so this is about good for the cheese, how it's just barely coming to a bubble. Now, the purpose for this is just to heat the cheese through so that it'll stick to all the noodles once you pour it over the top. All right, so we've drained off our pasta. And we're going to take a large mixing bowl, and we're going to pour our pasta into the large mixing bowl, and we're going to mix into this bowl. So just kind of get some of that steam off of there. As you can tell, I'm getting a facial. I'm getting a facial from the steam of the pasta. All right, so got some of that steam out of that pasta. Now, we took this cheese and we heated it through on medium heat. Now, don't cook it too high. Don't put it on too high a heat, because you don't want to burn the pasta and you don't want it to splash everywhere. So, mix it through one more time before we stick it. Pour it over the top of this pasta. Okay, so I can only do one at a time. I'm going to put a spoon there, and I'm going to flip you can't flip it. Okay, so here we go. All right, so there's that. I'm just gonna pour this cheese right over the top, just like that. See that? There you go. Trust me, it's good. All right, so now that we got our cheese in our pasta, we're going to mix this up. Now, I've said this before with other dishes. When you're mixing something together, when you're incorporating something together, you want to get around and all the way underneath. You want to scrape the bottom of the bowl so that everything is incorporated. So we're scraping the bottom of the bowl. If your pasta, you've drained it off early and you're waiting on your cheese to heat up and your pasta is stuck together, run some hot water over it. Or whenever you drain off your pasta, you drain off your pasta into a bowl so that you save the water from it. And you can put the pasta back in the water and stir it around. It'll loosen it up right away. All right, now our mac and cheese is mixed together. Now I'm gonna put some black pepper because, I don't know, you go to a potluck or something, you know the mac and cheese is good when you can see the pepper floating around the inside of that mac and cheese. Be careful. Don't put your face over it. You'll be sneezing. Because I know right now I want to sneeze. All right. So with the pepper mixed in, I'm going to put like, I don't know, like, I would say a teaspoon and a half of salt. Okay. Now I'm going to take my cheddar cheese in a bag and I'm going to pour that in there. But I'm going to save some off to the side. Alright, so I'm going to save about a quarter of the bag. Mix this in together. Now, not too long ago, a few days ago, I made some lasagna. So I had some mozzarella cheese left over. I'm going to stick the mozzarella cheese in here. The whole thing. I don't want it to go to waste. Right? Now, oh yeah. Now we're getting that ooey gooey goodness. Now this dish is great for a holiday get together. For instance, you got Easter and somebody wants mac and cheese, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. It doesn't matter. You got all these holidays. You got a church potluck. This is a good dish for a church potluck. Now, I'm going to take this mac and cheese and I'm going to put it in my handy dandy to go aluminum foil pan. And then I'm going to top it with the rest of that cheese. Now, I'm going to tell you, if y'all have issues with strength and you can't pick up something heavy, have someone else pick that up because that's heavy. It's a lot of cheese. A lot of cheese. Look at that stringy goodness. Oh yeah. Now, you taking it to someone else's house, you want it to look pretty. Squish it down into the corners. Flatten out the top. Make it look good. Look at there. Oh man. Now, I got all this put together. Hold on, I'll show it to you. All right. There it is. It's all put together in the pan. All right. Now, I'm just going to take this. I got some of that wet cheese on my hand. Do that. Dry my hand. Now, I'm going to take this leftover cheese and I'm going to just sprinkle it right on top. Just like that. Now I'm going to tell you this. This is for people who don't already have a family recipe, or if you're looking for a different recipe or whatever. But if y'all have an Auntie Tootsie in your family, 9 out of 10 times you probably already have a really good family recipe. So I'm not trying to take away from someone's family recipe or the traditional way you used to do it. Like I've said before, and I'll say it again, you do you. You make your dish the way you like your dish. If you want to use this idea, then go ahead and use this idea. You want to alter this idea, go ahead and alter it. Tell me about it. If you make it, show me your pictures. It would be great. You can make this ahead of time, set it aside. When you get to where you're going, you stick it in the oven again, heat it up. You can eat it lukewarm. It doesn't matter. It's a really good dish. I know, me personally, confessions from the cook, I will get a bowl of it out of the refrigerator cold and eat it. So it doesn't have to be heated up. Now go out and remember that fork. Enjoy your life as it is, but there's always something better right around the corner. Get out there and let's get cooking.